Sorry.
All good.
We good, lads?
I'm ready.
Welcome to Omni Rugby. Now, slowly but surely, the excitement is brewing. We're building up to the FNB Varsity Cup. It's the 2026 edition, and we've got Jonathan Mokoena in studio. We've got Brett Burns, rugby's known all in studio as well. But then we said, let's bring on someone who knows a little bit more about this tournament than we do. The FNB Varsity Cup tournament manager, Anushka Swart, joins us on the line. Anushka, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you guys?
We're doing very, very well. Incredibly excited. How excited are you to see the kickoff of this year's Varsity Cup?
Oh my word, I can't even put it into words. I am beyond excited for this season. There's so much new things coming through that we're very excited for. Excited to see all of the teams come back. You know, there was the promotion relegation. So we have the Wits now in Shield. We have Emirates, previously known as Varsity College, who's now in the Varsity Cup. So very excited to see what's going to happen this season.
And this got Jonathan here. I know this is a massive honor for you speaking to your favorite coach, which we're not going to mention on air, which is okay. You mentioned the new things with regards to the Varsity Cup. What are some of those new things that you and your board is looking forward to, and also just how you want to see grow the game?
So obviously, we obviously change our themes every year. So our big thing for this year is our new theme called the Who's Next. So from our side, you know, we've produced a lot of Springboks. There's been presenters that used to be MCs during the Varsity Cup tournament who's now been promoted to Super Sport presenters. So our question that we ask this season is who's next? Who's going to be the next big thing coming out of Varsity Cup? So that's the first one for starters. And then I'm pretty sure you guys have obviously heard about our new rule that has come in for this season, which is the tap or kick rule. So we're very excited to see how that's also going to be played out. You know, teams can actually now double up their points, but also the defending team can actually, you know, come through as heroes to stop all of those extra points that a team can score. So very excited to see what's about to happen this year.
How's it? You're speaking to Brett here. I have a question for, this has been coming like for most of my life watching Varsity Cup, as people always ask, why are there rule changes that's not the norm of your traditional rugby? Why do you guys do that? Like dumb it down to the
last compound
as to why you guys do it the way you do it. I know it's for excitement, and everyone's always excited to see what you guys are going to bring out next. But why? Why?
Look, so Varsity Cup is all about innovation. Like you had mentioned, we obviously try to make it as fun as possible for the players and for the fans as well. I mean, the fans play a very important part in this tournament. So we are very, you know, excited to do these new things, but also just to bring in a little bit of unpredictability. It starts getting boring when sports, you know, there's always the same outcome. So the innovations that we bring always brings a little bit of unpredictability. And also, I mean, the Varsity Cup is basically a testing platform for so many of these rules. I mean, we were the first competition to implement the 23rd player in a matchday squad, and that actually got taken up to World Rugby. Then follows, you know, the 50-22 rule, some of the red card variations where teams can now bring back a player, not the same player who caused the penalty and got the red card, but actually other players. So all of those types of rules, you know, have actually been taken up to World Rugby, and it changed the game. So we are in it to be game changers.
Love it.
For you, Anushka, as a tournament manager, maybe take us into your world a little bit, because we don't often get an opportunity to shine a spotlight on the role that you perform in terms of ensuring that we as youngsters and varsity students get to actually enjoy this tournament. How important is your role, and what specifically do you do on a day-to-day during this tournament?
That is, to be honest, a very, very tricky question to answer.
Just answer the question, Anushka. Answer the question.
My answer would be everything. I do everything. So Look, obviously the role of tournament manager comes with a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of fun. From my perspective, I obviously feel very privileged to be a woman in a male-dominated space, being a tournament manager of a rugby tournament. That is not something that you get a lot. So first of all, obviously it's a big privilege for me, but I really do enjoy my job. The majority of my work goes into the operational side of things. So, working with SARU, working with the coaches, working with all of the universities, ensuring that everyone has all of the necessary things for these tournaments. Then I also obviously have teams working under me. So, well, I won't say under me, they actually work next to me because my teams are different things. So there's logistics, there's marketing, there's PR, and I basically oversee all of that, making sure that these teams actually do perform all of these duties. There's also sponsorships that we have to look out for. So basically my work entails everything, and obviously then on match days, being the main point of contact for universities to let me know if there's any problems, and we then sort it out from there. Coach Jonna will be a good explanation for you. He used to love calling me on match days.
Anushka, just one more question before we let you go. You obviously mentioned some of the more administrative stuff that you do, but we also know that you are quite a keen person for building relationships. With this year's Varsity Cup, who is the team that you think is going to be on top at the end of the season?
Let's put you on the spot.
And I promise you, no one's listening. It's just between us now, so you can be honest.
As unbiased as you can be.
Yeah, no, look, that question is very, very, very tricky to answer. Look, I mean, obviously, I'm not allowed to have my favorite team, unfortunately. But also, with our new rules coming in, I've heard this question quite a few times in the beginning of the season already, and everyone wants to know. But from my side, like I said, our rules bring so much unpredictability, and I honestly can't even tell you. I haven't seen any of the teams play yet. Maybe if you call me back again in round 4, I might have an answer for you. But at the moment, I am just looking forward to the unpredictability and seeing what's actually going to happen.
Look at your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how you answer diplomatically. Anushka Swat.
Of course.
Anushka, you avoided that bomb there. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us on Omni Rugby. And we look forward to this year's FNB Varsity Cup. And of course, with all the hard work that you have to do throughout the season, we're wishing you all the best. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I hope I'll see all of you at least one or two of these matches during the season.
Quite a few. Don't worry. We'll come say hi, and Jonna will bring the coffee that he owes you.
Yes, please. I love that.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much,
Anushka.
guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Gentlemen, 2026 FNB Varsity Cup. Incredibly exciting times, especially for varsity students that like to jowl and party on a Monday. But also, this tournament is incredibly important in terms of growing the game and birthing new talent. So often we talk about what's next, and this competition has truly taken that slogan and made it its own. Brett Burns, Rugby's Know It All. I know that you're a man that has played in this tournament as well. I mean, you didn't necessarily become a Springbok, but you've done well in terms of the world of rugby. Any fond memories playing a little bit of Varsity Cup rugby?
Yeah, for me it was always about, as your student days, you forget that you're a student because Varsity Cup, they take it to a whole nother level of professionalism.
Absolutely,
I promise you. It's the level there is, if you're coming out of school and you all of a sudden in this, it's just as good as playing for the Sharks or the Stormers or whatever. They take it to that level. So you're getting a good feel of what's to come if you are to make it past Varsity Cup. So it's an amazing starting platform for youngsters. It must never go away. It's a brilliant tournament.
When you look at some of the Springboks that have come from this competition, I mean, there's so many to mention, Eben Etzebeth being one of them. Just for you as a former player, you talk about how professional it is. Is it also maybe an opportunity for these youngsters now to see that if I want to reach the highest level, this is exactly what's required? And also handling the pressure of innovation, big moments, and playing to crowds that actually fill up. Because I went to Tugs, and you can feel that pressure in that stadium.
Yeah, there's a little memory that I have about Varsity Cup specifically where a certain team was leading and their fly half, knowing what kind of pressure was happening, went for a drop goal, missed the drop goal, ended up conceding a 100-meter try from missing the drop goal, and they ended up losing the game. He just had to kick it out.
Yeah.
So you remember what I'm talking about?
I was not coaching. I was not coaching. I was not coaching that team.
I was about to get worried. Was it your team?
I know the team, and I wasn't coaching, so I was putting it out there.
I was waiting for that. Yes, but that specific moment is a memory that will stick forever, and that could make or break a youngster. So this tournament is really it gets you.
But not just that though. I think even on a coaching front, you know, there's opportunities for coaches that actually win Varsity Cup and go on to into higher honors. You know, I'm one of 3 coaches that has not. You know, get an opportunity to coach on a higher front. So it's myself, Andre Tadu, and then Kevin Musikant. Only 3 coaches that's won Varsity Cup that has not gone on to higher honors. You look at Robert Dupree, he's not won Varsity Cup, he's gone on to coach the Sharks. You look at John Dobson, won Varsity Cup with UCT, he's gone on. You look at Harvey's Fourie, you know, he's gone on. You know, so you can mention these coaches, and it just shows you that the quality of Varsity Cup. You mentioned about the preparation. For me, from a coaching perspective, it's almost equivalent to preparing for a test, as intense, because you need to have a look at all departments in the build up to the next week. But then at the same time, you got to remember that you're working with students. You know, so you also got to make it fun as well. They must have a beer afterwards. No, I can't say that. They must have a cool drink because it's supposed to be studying. You know, they must have a cool drink afterwards. And also, you know, you got to push to be professional, but also have fun with the students.
For you as a coach, and you've won this tournament, what does it take for a coach to actually win the Varsity Cup? Because so often we see the fun side of it, and we don't see the hard work that you guys put in Monday to Sunday, and sometimes even extra days. I mean, sometimes you don't see your family, I'm sure, because you are so locked in on winning this competition. What does it take?
You know, the funny thing is, just last night, I actually had a chat to my wife, and I said to her, it's the first time in a while that I actually don't go to bed after 1. You know, because that's what it takes. You know, you start your day at 8 in the morning, then you got to plan around the classes and, you know, when they can come to gym and when they can actually get to the field session. And then you still need to do your video sessions, your forward sessions. So it's a full day. But then at the end of the day, when the students go back home, you as the coach still need to go back and do your review of the day's work. You know, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't just happen. But what I've learned over the last few years in terms of, you know, securing your success is, 1, you must have a mature group, at least between the age of 21 to 24. If you can have the core of your group older than 22, you'll probably play semi-final or final. That's base. Then you must have a good kicking game. Must have a massive defense, and you must be able to maul tries and stop maul tries. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle. You are going to struggle.
The one thing about Varsity Cup is also the teams are never consistent. So it's not necessarily like a professional structure where you know that you've got X, Y, and Z for like 2 years, 3 years. Like the players change, and there's actual requirements where the players have to get certain marks. So you can have one team this season, and then all of a sudden your core group, as you mentioned, is completely out of the squad.
Spot on. And then, of course, your recruitment as well. Because let's say Brett has got this specific skill set that you want, but his academics doesn't allow him to get into university, gone. Then the following year, if he does get in, he needs to get 60 credits.
Yeah.
So not 59, 60 credits. If you don't have 60,
you're out.
They don't bend the rules, which I think it's an absolute brilliant rule, because we need better qualified men into society. That's what we need.
Yeah.
If we can have that, the society will be better. Opportunities will come. So it's an Afrikaans sê, it's a mengelmoes van 'n klomp goed. You know,
which makes it interesting.
Which makes it very interesting. Hence, I mean, I had a chat to Rassi about. He says he would never be able to coach at Varsity Cup level because it's just so many, you know, moving parts within the system.
Yeah.
And you said it. I think at provincial level, it's almost a little bit easier because you manage, you pay him, you got to do your job. I'll pay you. But with Varsity Cup, there's so many stuff you have to consider.
Talking about things that we have to consider going into this year's tournament, Rule changes are quite a big thing for this year's Varsity Cup. I want to focus specifically on the one rule that could make things a little bit interesting. The tap and kick rule. Of course, that's sponsored by Sports Pesa. It's called the Sports Pesa Tap and Kick Legends, right? And Brett, I want to bring you into this conversation. It's the one rule that I believe will make things a little bit interesting is if you score a try, you then have an opportunity within a half. You get 2 opportunities. You then can tell the ref, almost like when you appeal a decision in cricket, you tell the ref, you're like, listen, either I want to kick, get my conversion, or I want to tap. Then it's 22 meters back. The defending team are 10 meters away, and it's tap. And if you then score another try, it becomes 10 points. For me, that can swing a game in the dying few minutes. What do you think of this new rule, Brett Burns?
Well, I'll be that loose cannon captain and say we will tap every single time after
Backline
we
player.
score.
Backline player.
Definitely a backline player. I'll be like, forwards, you just hang on a bit. We got this. No, I'm joking. I think it's brilliant. The innovation is brilliant. I don't think it will go on to higher ranking officials to play in World Rugby, but I do think that it's a brilliant rule. You're going to see some brain farts.
Yeah.
We haven't penetrated your defense for 74 minutes, and now let's all of a sudden try and do it again. So you're going to see that a lot, which I'm excited for. And then you're going to see teams that are obviously, we've scored 4 tries already. Let's do it. Clever captaincy. So it's gonna be a make or break for some captains.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. We don't need any Warakaland moments. You know, wakker slaap, man, and stay awake, because if you don't focus, things get a little bit tricky. Jono, what do you think of this new innovation? And also from a coaching perspective, like there's a lot of things to consider. Like you could be leading a game by, let's say, 3 or 5 points, and all of a sudden, 75 minutes into the game, you lose the game right there.
I love it. I love it. I think already, there's teams that's coming up with some smart plans. Just off the cuff, off the top of my head, if you think that you're playing at Marty's, they've got a bit of a bigger in goal. So you get the ball, maybe you play 3 phases, then bomber up and under, cross kick, isolating the winger. So there's so many opportunities, I think, that this new rule actually creates. I think it now just got to come down to the teams of being smart and also when to use it. Yeah. Because you also don't want to, like you said, you also don't want to, use it, but you've not penetrated the defense at all. So it's going to be somewhere where the coach or the captain has got to be in tune with what's happening on the field. It's all good and well. You're just calling it because you want to impress your grandmom or your auntie sitting in the stadium. But it's going to be special. It's going to be special.
Gents, who's winning this competition? 2026 edition of the FNB Varsity Cup. Coming into this competition, we know that UCT are the reigning defending champions. Brett Burns, a man who loves a good prediction. Who's your money on? Or maybe a team that you'll be watching quite closely throughout this tournament?
What did Varsity College change their name to?
Emirates.
Yeah, Emirates.
I'm not saying they're going to win the tournament, but
Okay.
I'm very excited to see what they can do.
Okay.
I'm like their structure is different to what a varsity would be. So that's going to be I'm keeping my eye on them. That
Dark horse.
Dark horse.
Are we giving them the dark horse title?
100%.
Jono, where we putting some money here? Sports Pesa.
I
We make it count.
like that one. I like that one. However, in the last 3-4 years, the finalist has mostly come Pikke, UCT, Marty's, and Shimlas. That's been the 4 finalists for the last 3-4 years, and the winner comes out of those 4.
Yeah.
So my prediction out of that 4.
Oh, cool.
What does that say? No. Jono.
I made a prediction. It's putting it one of those 4.
Jono, we're putting you on the spot here.
Let me
We're putting you on the spot. And you
Let
do
me-
this every time. You
let
do
me
this
say-
every
no, no.
time on the show.
And every time I'm right.
You just chose 4 teams. You literally chose
Eliminate 2.
eliminate.
Okay.
Give us
Here's
the
the thing.
final. Give us the final.
Let me tell you why I say this. Those are one of or the universities that pay their players.
Ooh, that's a good point.
CUT, not really. They don't have the money to buy players from outside. They don't. UJ, Not really. They don't have money to buy players post-grads. They don't. It's just they just don't have the money. You look at who's the other one? Wits, they gone. They unfortunately, well, not
Shield.
unfortunately, but they got help from the Lions, which also didn't work. Help them. Tucks.
Ducks off nucks.
They
Ducks
also
off
don't.
nucks.
They predominantly don't also buy players. Well, here and there they do, but not a lot. So that's another thing. If you have money to buy players, you can operate.
Okay, but that's
Jono, love the explanation. Love the explanation. Thank you so much for new information. Who's your money on? At least give us the final. Final two. Who's in the final?
Oof. Okay, I'll give you final three. I'll give you final three.
Yeah.
UCT, good culture. Marty's, good quality players. And then a potential Shimlas. Those three.
Okay.
So Stormers Cheetahs final.
Well.
Jono.
Well,
We'll
what are they?
we'll work on you. I'll throw in Pika. I believe that that's a team to watch. And also that's a team that Jono has won the Varsity Cup with. So, I mean, he didn't want to mention the team. He didn't want to be slightly biased, but we'll go with Pika. Gentlemen, 2026 will be an interesting year in terms of the Varsity Cup. Of course, it kicks off on Monday, and everyone is incredibly excited for the students. Please make sure you go to your lectures on Tuesday. Don't miss your lectures because that first party is always a rough one. Let's move on to the Blitz box. We spoke about it last week, Jono. Brett Burns, unfortunately, you missed out on the action, but what was said is the fact that they were a little bit bruised after Singapore. Heading off to Perth, they had a lot to prove after finishing 4th in Singapore. And you said it, Jono. You said they're dangerous when they're a little bit bruised. And they actually won the tournament. How excited were you? I'm sure you're smiling from ear to ear because that comeback, you called it.
I did. And I did so wholeheartedly and confidently on the show. But no, they were good. And look, I think let's also give it to them because they got some seniors back. Like a guy like Zane Davids, I've always said, he might not be the most flashiest players, but he does the hard work. He does the donkey work. He carries when he needs to carry. He defends when he needs to carry. And that's the kind of leadership that they needed on the field. And a guy like Dylan Leitz, not the heaviest guy on the field, but he works. And I think, again, historically, they've been the team that if they start well, or if they start well in the next tournament, they actually fall off. This time around, it's other way around, where they struggled in Perth, and then last weekend they were phenomenal. So again, I think kudos to them. But I know Brett's got a mouthful to say about them. So let's hear.
Okay, so where do you want me to start?
The floor is yours.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I agree on everything you said, but it wasn't in Perth that they failed because they won in Perth.
Previous week, yeah.
No, just a disclaimer there.
Come on.
You can't always be right
Come
about
on.
everything.
Come on.
I love Brett.
So what stood out for me about this tournament was when they lost to Fiji in the pool stage. Normally what happens when they lose to Fiji, like I've seen it now, I saw it last week in Singapore, where they lost and then they lost again. It's almost they dipped. But all of a sudden, day 2, they just picked it up in that semi-final, and it was just phenomenal rugby. And I want to talk about Sebastian Job. Remember the name Sebastian Job. That person is the next Siobela Sonatla for me in the 7th circuit. But also, sorry, to come back to what you said about Tristan Lates, probably one of the most underrated sevens players I've seen in a very long time, and his leadership. Look how he talks to the guys when there's a penalty, especially in that final. They, I mean, just how he has such a calm head and everything. I think that this is, they've got a core group now that's gelling well.
Yeah.
And this sevens team is now becoming very dangerous, and the world must look out.
So we've won the Cape Town Sevens. We've now won in Perth. Is this the resurgence of the Blitzbox of old? Because when I look at the last, let's say 2 years, 3 years, it hasn't necessarily been the same Blitzbox, and the hype has almost died down. Because I remember a time when people were incredibly excited to talk about the Blitzbox because they were winning. Where now, slowly but surely, things have changed. But is that culture coming back, Jono? Are we now maybe going to win this 7 series?
The biggest challenge for the group currently playing is that consistency. Consistency in leadership, and then also experience. The biggest challenge that they faced over the last few years is the fact that, when an injury happened, the next guy stepping in is not really ready to perform at that level. I still say and I still maintain that they need to bring back the academy full time. When the Springbok seniors was performing well, that academy was doing well and pushing for places at the senior team. At the moment, that academy is not getting enough exposure, not getting enough game time to step up and perform. I remember there was a time where the academy used to almost play like in a big league of the circuit, Hong Kong, Amsterdam, and that actually prepared them, because now all of a sudden you don't have to worry about traveling and seeing a flight for the first time. You knew that this is what it takes, and the coaching was also at the same time. But unfortunately, that academy, the falling away of the academy was actually a bit of a Achilles tendon for the Blitzbox system.
Yeah, Vancouver is up next. You spoke about how the Blitzbox can go from defeat and then get a victory. Are we possibly winning Vancouver?
Before we answer the Vancouver one, I just want to go back to what you said about, are we going to see the Blitzbox of old? I don't think that will ever happen, because I think the smaller unions are catching up, and it's becoming a more level playing field, which is exciting. So you'll never see like a dominant Fiji or a dominant New Zealand or a dominant South Africa like you did in the past, because now Argentina is winning regularly, Spain is winning regularly, Uruguay two tournaments ago had that upset. So so we'll never see that ever again. I think we can forget about that completely, because now we're seeing excitement, because you see South Africa playing Spain 10 years ago, it'd be like, oh, here comes a 50.
Walkover.
I can go make coffee and I'll come back, it'll be 50-0. Now it's like, oh, you go make coffee, you come back at 7-0 against you. So I love this about sevens. On the Vancouver thing, I don't know, because they now are coming out of a very, very cold winter. So now it's adapting to weather, not so much playing conditions. So it's now it's different. So South Africans, we like the sun, we like the heat. We want to run when it's 40 degrees, not when it's minus 40 degrees. So yeah, I'm not going to make a prediction yet on that, because I know I don't like playing in cold weather, so I don't know.
Yeah. In saying that though, Vancouver has been a happy hunting ground for the Blitzbox. So that could be one advantage in our favor. The fact that we've kind of been successful in Vancouver. So maybe that omen carries over and builds further. Only time will tell.
I want to talk about the Springbok women's sevens team, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it. Did they play in Perth? Are they playing in this HSBC 7 series? And do we know the reason as to some of the challenges? Because we spoke about it last year on the show. They did win the Africa Sevens Cup last year. So they're a team that is doing incredibly well. And in order for us to become more competitive at the highest level, they did well at the World Cup last year as well. I mean, we want to see them lifting trophies in sevens as well.
Yeah. So just back into your question. So they'll only join the HSBC from next season onwards. Okay. Because they've won the qualifications in November and then the African Cup earlier. So that only qualifies them for next season, which will be the 2026-2027. Oh, beautiful. 2026-2027 season. Okay. So they are there, and we will definitely see them more. I think now it's just a matter of getting them some more game time. And getting them on the pitch, because South Africa and Ranford Dazel, they've done some amazing work with the ladies. Really, really amazing work.
We want you to join the conversation. The Blitzbox are definitely back. They've won the Cape Town Sevens, and now they won in Perth. Can they continue this winning momentum? I mean, I want to see the Blitzbox of old. Brett Burns says that the landscape has changed a little bit. The other teams are a lot more competitive, but then again, that always makes for great rugby. Let's move on to some stories that are brewing across the rugby world, specifically looking at the Six Nations. There's a story that's coming out of Ireland. Our favorite coach, you remember the coach that helped us win the Rugby World Cup 2023, Jacques Nienaber? Apparently, Jonathan Mokoena, Brett Burns, apparently he's the guy that's dragging them down a little bit. How does that make sense? Help me understand this. That's one of the best coaches in world rugby. I say they're looking for excuses, but hey, Brett Burns, what do you think?
100% looking for excuses. Like try and paint me a picture. Like I want them to go back to that show, dumb it down, draw pictures for me as to how whatever he's doing at Leinster is relevant to how the Irish team is playing.
Thank you.
Because Farrell is the coach of Ireland, not Ninober. And Ninober and Farrell is not selecting Crowley, he's selecting Prendergast, which also blows my mind. And he's not a Leinster player, he's a Munster player. So why is the Munster player not playing ahead of the Leinster player?
Yeah.
So this is what's actually needs to be asked over there. Not with your fancy Irish accent come and think that the South African is now the problem for your mishaps. That makes no sense whatsoever. And those people get paid to be on that show.
Yeah.
And they're spewing this absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I think what should happen is they should fly Brett over because he looks Irish. represent Jacques, and to speak in these Irish and tell them, listen, bollocks.
Nonsense.
Nonsense.
How can they even say stuff like that, Jono? Because to me, like when you mentioned it earlier, I'm like, guys, that is so irrelevant. Or is this mind games and them trying to find excuses to help the Irish public accept the fact that their team is not as great anymore? A team that once upon a time beat the All Blacks.
That's not a bad theory. I've never looked at it that way. Because the reality is, last weekend, they took a massive hiding against the French. And all of a sudden, they don't have the quality players that, the Brian O'Driscolls, the Johnny Sextons, that's actually competitive enough to put their team in a good space. I think this could be a opportunity maybe for them just to say, listen, we're not as great as we thought, but we need to blame someone to take the flak. But I've got news for them. He's won a World Cup.
Definitely.
No, he's won 2 World Cups. Just putting it out there. So where they come up with saying it's because of, I can't see that. It's like saying the CEO of Apple goes to Samsung and now he drags him down.
How?
If it was other way around, where they were winning tournaments or winning World Cups, and then all of a sudden they're performing, then I'd say take it on the chin. But this guy, Jacques Nienaber, has proven over and over and over again that he's good enough to coach at any level. Think about it. He had to go into a different culture and adapt and coach them. And Leinster is still a competitive team. Last year they played, unfortunately, I think they lost in the semi-final of the Investi Cup.
Yeah.
So I cannot see why they're actually coming and pointing fingers at him. I don't know.
Irish media, I would say just stop it. Like, just relax. Like, you don't have to involve South Africans.
Yeah.
Just take it on the chin.
It's like if the Lions started performing poorly, then the coach would blame Jonathan McQuenna for Christmas because he was at Picker way back in the day. And it's like, it's Jonathan's fault that my fluff's not performing. It's like, imagine. Just make that make sense. Oh, my goodness.
Doesn't make sense. Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about the Six Nations. We've seen a little bit of rugby. We spoke about Italy, a few surprises here and there, Talk to me about where we're at in this competition. One game in, I mean, are we seeing the favorites winning it? Are you still sticking with Italy?
No, I never said no. I never said they're gonna win it. Relax yourself now. I said they will be competitive. And were they last week? They were. Scotland never had opportunity. I never felt that the Scots actually was in a position to really apply pressure on Italy. And you have to take your hat off to that group of Italians because they fought from the first minute. I spoke to Carlo Dolfafa, who's the previous Italian captain, and he says that there's been a build-up of mindset, a build-up of how they actually approach games. And all of a sudden you can see it's bearing fruit.
Yeah.
And also this the stability in their management, stability in the leadership, stability in getting enough experience. Because previous years, again, you would play against Italy and 50 points easily. But now you can't. And I think the Italy Scotland game and the France Ireland game was the two games of the weekend for me. The England Wales didn't really mean much, but for me those were phenomenal rugby, genuinely.
Brett Burns, I want to throw a spanner your way.
Of course you do.
Rumors, speculations there in the Twitter streets, TikTok, Springboks, Six Nations. What do you say? I have to ask you.
I don't want it to ever happen.
Why not?
I feel like so this might be a bit controversial or maybe not, but South Africa leaving Super Rugby made New Zealand rugby weaker, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. I agree.
And South Africa leaving the Rugby Championship might make South Africa weaker, going up north.
Not stronger.
No, because New Zealand rugby, the team, the All Blacks, they still have it. Obviously, the watered down sides, the Super Rugby sides, maybe not so much, but the All Black team is still gunning for a South African team every single year. And I feel like if South Africa plays up north in the Northern Hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere is going to get stronger and the Southern Hemisphere is going to get weaker. South Africa dictates if World Rugby does well or not.
But isn't there an argument, because as you're saying, Springboks left Super Rugby in terms of our local team, right? We then move up and we now play in the URC, right? And I mean, a lot of us are enjoying the rugby. It's a little bit different, more teams, a lot of action, lots of money is being made. There's a lot of cost for SA Rugby as well. But isn't there an argument that maybe the Springboks could become even better competing in that competition?
No, and I actually had this argument with myself on the way here. And
I read your mind.
Hello, Self. I feel like I just said that the Super Rugby sides are a bit watered down and it's not as tough as All Blacks. But playing against them, union versus union, it was still way tougher rugby. And then we'd often, if you're playing for the Springboks after a Super Rugby season, there were a lot of more like big profile player injuries because of the level of intensity in Super Rugby. Then we went to the URC, and don't get me wrong, don't hate me for this, but it is a little bit softer. It's not as head bashing as it would be in Super Rugby, and thus I feel like why South Africa is playing. I have to watch my words. Yeah.
Take a breath, take a deep breath.
I
see you sweating a little bit.
I don't want to be cancelled again. I don't want to be cancelled
No, that's what I'm saying. Take a deep breath, formulate your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that up north, if we play international rugby, we'll get weaker. But playing provincial rugby and then playing international rugby south is keeping us strong.
Coach Jono? Cool, calm, and collected.
He's going to say how
you're not sweating. You're not sweating.
I had to get my words in there.
No, we completely understand. So it's a conversation that's been brewing, and a lot of people are talking about it. It's a very casual conversation, right? Yeah. And that's why I want to have it here, right? For you, given the roles that you've held in the past and your understanding of the game, your understanding of what Super Rugby was, what the URC currently is, and where Coach Rassie, I mean, you've got him on speed dial, you know, and these are these are the conversations that could be happening in those boardrooms at SA Rugby. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is it something that we should consider?
Nah. I actually like the fact that we have got the best of both worlds. I think, also just from a player's perspective, we actually have a better player management opportunity now. The flights to UK is less. There's no jet lag, injuries. So if we have to, get a player in, it's quicker. Why I like the Super Rugby is because our skill set still developed under there. Whereas with Northern Hemisphere Rugby, it's a little bit, we don't see our teams playing as much. It's more defensive orientated, set piece orientated, and then kicking in. And that's unfortunate because of the weather that actually allows, that dictates how we need to play. Whereas with Super Rugby, we could track the ball around a little bit. But the nice thing is, we don't have to develop those players to do that. We can do that. We've seen how if we marry the two, like we did with at the Springboks, the kind of tries we can score. Fortunately for us, we've got a guy like Tony Brown, who's, I mean, we all speak about him, is how he managed to marry the two. Because, again, we're not walking away from our kicking game. We're not moving away from our defense. We're just looking for opportunities to capitalize when we do get the ball from those set phases. So it's a fine balance. But I don't think, us leaving Super Rugby or the Southern Hemisphere totally is of utmost benefit to us. I think having both, that's a sweet spot to be in.
Yo, Jonathan Mokoena, butter your bread on both sides. That's exactly what he's saying. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for yet another edition of Omni Rugby. So many talking points about the show. Most importantly, 2026 F&B Varsity Cup starts on Monday. I'm sure you're incredibly excited. We have to talk about the fact that the Irish are blaming Jacques Nienaber for dragging them down a little bit in the Six Nations. Absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. And then this whole Six Nations, Springboks conversation. What do you think? Do you think the Springboks need to consider playing in this competition? Or does it just benefit us, as Brett Burns said, that rather play your club rugby in the URC, and then in terms of the Springboks, we stay in the South and we keep on playing against the All Blacks? I'd love to get your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll be back next week with yet another episode of Omni Rugby.
Goodbye.
Bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Can I please do an intro? Please give me a countdown.